Are you ready for the most interesting superhero selection witnessed by history? Okay, be careful then. A little warning here, this may shock you a bit, but you can say, I am ready already. Okay, let's go then. In Turkey, superhero movies and rip-offs are mostly considered as huge parodies, just like science fiction and fantasy gems. Unfortunately, rich historical narratives that mark the history of the country have not been enough to adapt the superhero stories or science fiction stories to our own codes properly.
Alo, Gazman Kahramanlık Hizmetleri Anonim Şirketi buyurun.
Anonimine ayrı, şirketine ayrı, kurban oldum Milanoğlu Gazmanım, yetiş gayrı.
Tamam halkım bir tanem. 13-15 lodosuyla oradayım.
In Turkey again, we have seen many superhero rip-off attempts. For example, DC's warriors are Batman and Superman or Fumetti's superstar Zagortenay. Their common denominator was that they had extremely low budgets. Although many films had burned to ashes after unfortunate huge fires, Turkish filmmakers were never indifferent to superhero concept. But after these previous attempts, superheroism hasn't been any different until today in Turkey. Nevertheless, it's highly important to note that there have been some serious attempts in the recent historical process of Turkey. At least we can say something was tried. Yıldıray Çınar and Hakan Tacal's contributions to the DC universe, so-called Janissary, is one of the most important superheroes in the Turkish comic books arena, of course. Before anything else, despite its traditional name, Janissary deserves to be considered as a female superhero figure, originating from a country that doesn't have its own original superhero. She is a unique figure, of course. What else? In Netflix original series The Protector, as Hakan Muhafız in Turkish, with the superheroic character Hakan, sadly shows us how we are actually far from creating original superheroic figure. Although this Netflix series is undoubtedly appreciated as our first superhero production with the effect of such nationalist emotions, we have seen many examples of Turkish superheroes recently. The problem is, almost all of these examples are so voluminous that they can be forgotten. Well, I will explain each example, but for now, I really don't want to wait for introduction or honorable guest. Yeah, right guess. Three Giant Man or The Mighty Man or in Turkish, Üç Dev Adam.
Size bir şey daha soracağım. Vazife esnasında niçin özel elbise giyip maske takıyorsunuz?
Örümcek çocuk ruhlu bir delidir. Hep maske takar. Karşısında başka bir maskeli gördü mü onu yok etmeye çalışır.
Well, Three Giant Man is a very interesting experimental tryout in many ways, of course. First of all, it brings together two important members of the Avengers team on a small budget. I'm talking about a budget that will make Tony Stark jealous. So, who are these heroes? Yeah, Captain America and Spider-Man. Hold on, this movie is beyond being the first live-action Avengers compilation on screen. It has unique interesting qualities.
Yüzbaşı Amerika'nın da hesabını göreceğiz.
Although the film is described as Turkish Captain America in many sources, it's actually much more than it. Turkish Captain America is not a very correct expression anyway. As a matter of fact, Captain America positioned against Spider-Man, who is a historical artifact smuggler, as a leader of underground gangs? What the? Should be considered highly surreal even when the world hasn't seen the first colored Captain America films, directed by Rod Holcomb and Ivan Nagy in the same period of 1979. As a matter of fact again, Spider-Man The Dragon's Challenge movie has had 6 years before it was released. What a coincidence, huh? Nevertheless, it should be noted that another variation of Captain America had been seen previously in Turkey. Major Typhoon, directed by Tolga Ziyal in 1968, was the first Captain America variation in Turkey. Hold on, because the real supersonic bomb is Spider-Man himself. You probably saw the Spider-Man in a bad form because of the symbiote infected Peter Parker, but there is no way you can come across this Spider-Man variation, which has become a very massive cult with the actor Tevfik Şen's bushy eyebrows in any other movie.
Adios, mafia.
Well, as you can guess, Spider-Man, which was designed as a non-cobweb user, is this kind of supervillain? Again, a historical artifact smuggler, a funny pervert, a sadistic maniac with eclectic tastes. However, it's never that type of evil which will irritate the audience. Maniac Spidey, who doesn't hesitate to use extremely interesting methods by inspiring abusing cinema, also found a way to clone himself. I didn't say clone. Okay, let's be honest, it's possible to understand all revisions related to Spider-Man at some point, but nevertheless, it's hard to find a clever reason for a clown makeup.
Evet sevgilim.
Despite of its low budget, there is no restriction for graphic violence and eroticism. It's an important detail that the film's content was approved even by the authority controls in 1973, of course. Such secular days, huh? Especially nowadays, in Turkey, it's almost impossible to come across a PG-18 on this kind of dosage. Talking about striptease, okay, but why do people in this movie try to strip everyone who comes up against them? Why? It's not really possible to take this kind of sadism seriously. You have never seen such a crazy Spider-Man variation in the world's cinema history. There is no other way you can see. I also want to draw extra attention to this supersonic sign where I think it inspires Indiana Jones and Expendables maybe. Also, isn't this fashion show just happened after the massacre a simple summary of Spidey's extraordinary taste? It would be irrelevant to discuss the qualities or lacks of the movie. Worth to think, the case is more than the Captain America's beating a skillful villain Spider guy. Indeed, it's the point of Spidey's interesting methods and Mexican superhero El Santo existence in this superheroic circus. What else actually needed for an international super duper movie? Wait, El Santo? Who is this guy? One of the cult figures of Mexican cinema, El Santo is actually a famous wrestler. He fought against the werewolves, vampires, zombies and aliens in many movies. He has become Mexico's most famous super warrior. I think this is more than enough for his position in this movie. Well, things got even stranger, huh? Hey wait, do you think every bald man you see is Lex Luthor? Think about it. It's not what you think. It's worse. I think, Steve Rogers isn't actually stylish compared to him. Oh, of course we have a cheap low-budget production again. Captain America has no vibranium shield and helmet with white wings. Honestly, he may have forgotten this equipment in America, who knows. Three Giant Men definitely should be considered as an extremely low-budgeted fun movie with unusual ideas that has not been fully delivered to the worldwide trash movie arena. But the film's original negatives unfortunately became a victim of fire, therefore it was not restored. Also, the first 16 minutes of the movie was completely lost forever. In addition to his being a real Turkish sucker punch, it made Captain America become a heavy paranoid. Don't be fooled by the smile on his face. Well, again, there is a movie that every cinephile must try at least once in their life. Semi-armed Captain America, a lunatic supervillain Spider-Man, and El Santo right in the middle of a massive fight of these two Avengers. You can find this weird chemistry all at once in million-dollar budget productions. But Three Giant Men offers you all this stuff as a tasty guilty pleasure. Well, think about it. What would you lose? Will it be any worse? Well, thank you anyway.